welcome to my channel. As I told you in my previous video, I felt I was stuck in my comfort zone with dolls and I really needed to make something completely different from my previous works. And as I could get an LED doll, I had this idea. I started with the clothes. I got this clear vinyl and I made a raincoat with it. To draw the pattern, I used a Sharpie. What I thought it was a good idea. I sewed together the pieces that form the back part. I decided to use blue thread for it. I couldn't pin the vinyl because the holes would stay, but static electricity made the job. It's important to be careful with the stitches in this material because you can't undo what you did. The brilliant Sharpie idea wasn't so brilliant. It was coming off all the time and stained my fingers. Oh well. I sewed the front and then the sleeves. I cut the edges, trying to make very clean cuts, as I didn't hem anything. I folded the pieces and sewed the raincoat close. I removed the Sharpie with rubbing alcohol. And here the problems came. I tried to turn the sleeves inside out, but it stuck to itself all the time. And it teared. After panicking, I simply cut the sleeves. I finished the raincoat with the collar. Under it, she's going to wear a bikini. I drew the pattern on a piece of stretchy fabric. I sewed the edges of the panties. These cuts are very helpful when sewing curved pieces. Then I sewed the sides to close it. I hemmed the top with a zigzag stitch, so it's still stretchy. For the bra, I started sewing the top edges and the middle dart. I used ribbon to make all the straps. I made the closure with 2 jump rings that I sewed in place. This way you can fasten it easily. I made a belt with a piece of silver fabric. I just sewed the edges in the desired thickness and added a snap. Do you remember the Scooby-Doo strings we used in the 90s to make bracelets? I used them a lot in this project. I glued 3 of them on the belt. First on one side, and when it was completely dry, on the other. For the shoes, I just painted this pair of boots that belonged to a Venus doll. I used silver acrylic paint to cover the pink parts. To enhance the square pattern on the boots, I covered it with acrylic paint. And before it dried, I removed the most part of it with a cotton pad soaked in water. I also painted all the details in silver. I glued more Scooby-Doo stripes here to add more details to the boots. Now I could start working on the doll. LED has all these amazing sculpted details on her body, and all I wanted was to enhance them. But first, I had to start as always, cutting her hair as close to the scalp as possible, sinking her hair in boiling water and removing it with the help of a towel when it got soft. Removing the rest of the hair from the inside with a screwdriver and pliers, and cleaning her factory paint with pure acetone. I prepared young hair in this neon green color. I wanted to reroot only the hairline. I shouldn't have started rerouting the head because I wanted to add more Scooby-Doos to the head and the hair made it a bit harder. To reroute these thick plastic tubes, I had to widen the holes on the head. I used this very thick needle. Then I passed this normal needle and thread through the hole. Be careful to check that you have access to the needle through the neck hole. I passed the strip through the loop of the thread and then just pulled very firmly. And just keep pulling to remove the thread. If I hadn't rerouted the yarn first, I wouldn't have had these tangles. Then I rerouted the rest of the hairline. To have the feeling of a fuller head, instead of painting, I just glued yarn hairs towards the center. I marked where the ponytail should be. Then I rerouted a single yarn string there. Also, more Scooby-Doos using the same technique as before. I secured everything with some universal glue inside and outside. To be able to make a long ponytail with yarn, I glued some webs around the long yarn string, starting from the bottom and getting to the top. I know that all you can see here is a yarn mess. But after the glue dried, I arranged everything on a ponytail and it looked tidy. Now I started with the body. I drilled some holes to some places for later. Then I used a nail buffer to remove the top layer from the plastic. I cleaned all the dust with rubbing alcohol. I didn't want this branding to show on the doll, so what I did in this case was covering everything with Mod Podge. When it fully dried, I sprayed everything with Mr. Super Clear. And this was the most elaborated part of this doll. I painted all the details with watercolors. In my case, I just used the effect from my pencils. I wanted to create a rainbow gradient all over her body. If I made a mistake, I could simply wipe it off with a bit of water. By the way, this is my first doll with a backstory. Lisa Blake was a biorobotic scientist. She was the best in her field. All she had, all she wanted in life was to achieve the excellence. 1 week before she turned 89, she was told that she was really sick and that she only had a couple of months to live. At that moment, she realized she didn't have anyone to share the news. She had no friends, no lovers, and no memories outside her lab. That's when she decided she wanted to live. As she knew her body was dying, she spent the rest of her days creating a new one for her. And that's how L154-BL was born. A robot with human brain and human emotions, whose only purpose is to enjoy life. Honestly, this really made me want to write a deeper story about Lisa. I painted some parts with silver acrylics too. I covered her body with micro glitter, but it's not very visible on camera. This time, instead of the usual MSC, I sealed her body with gloss varnish. Before starting with the face-up, I reattached head and body. I protected the body and hair and sprayed a couple of layers of MSC. And again, I painted all the details on her mold with watercolors. After protecting it with a layer of MSC, I started drawing her face. First, the shape of her eyes and irises. As always, I used a color similar to the doll's skin tone. Some details on the nose. And the lips, I used purple for them. As this doll is a robot, her lips are going to be a solid color. I'm not going to draw wrinkles on them, just because I don't want them to look natural. And the same with the eyebrows. I'm not drawing the single hairs on them. I wanted to mimic a camera shutter for her irises. I added different shades of gray to give them volume. I was a bit confused with the scleras. I honestly didn't know how to make them. I decided on grey, but with some white near the irises. On the next layers, I just made the colors as opaque as possible. After protecting the eyes with sealant, I started marbling watercolors on her eyes. I wanted the paint to be thin, so you can see what I drew under it. When the eyes were dry and sealed, I went over the lines with black. This time, the only eye shine is a little dot right on the center of the pupil. I started making the lashes shorter than usual, but I didn't like it, so I just made them a little bit longer. I gave the lips and irises a bit of volume with my pastel pencil to finish the face up. As you can see, I also used gloss varnish on her face. Now I arranged the strips on her hair. It was a bit annoying. To hold her hairstyle, I used this wire that I put inside a Scooby-Doo strip. Now that I see body and head together, I love her! Remember the holes I drilled? They were for this. And now, we can say that our doll is finally done. L154 is ready to meet people, visit places, and enjoy the art of life. What do you think about her? I'm very happy to make something so different from my usual dolls. I really hope you like her. Thank you so much for watching. Your support is everything. See you again very soon. Bye!